Hi, my name is Robert May, and I'm a Juilliard-trained singer, artist, and vocal coach, and this is the How to Learn a Song series. In this video, we're going to talk about how to dive deeper into the text of the song, which, in other words, we're going to really start to pick the song apart and understand what makes the song tick. Now that your notebook is really full of information, you should read the text a lot and read all of the translations a lot. So for me, and I'm sure everyone would be different, but I like to kind of read a few at the same time. So I like to read, for example, the original text and like the unpoetic at the same time. Read it through over and over again. I like to read it through somewhere between 5 and 12 times a day, particularly at the beginning. And the reason is because you're going to start to really notice all the nuances of the song. Every time I read the song, I pick up on different things, and it takes me till about the 7th time till I feel like I'm really getting what I want to get. And the reason why we do this is because eventually when we get to performance, we want to communicate all those nuances. We want to communicate the beauty and the depth that the lyricist or the poet poured into this text. In the space after everything you have written about the song, you're going to write the thesis of the song. That's answering the question, what is this song about? Also, you should identify the want of the character. So what does this character want? I mean, even if you wrote the song, it's you from 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago, you know? So write what you want and write what's preventing you from getting that. Also consider going through the song and bracketing off large sections. So now we're moving to the text portion of the song, bracketing off large sections and summarizing each bracketed section. Lastly, it can be really helpful to come up with a question that the song is responding to. So, for example, I spoke about in the last video the song Cancer that I was singing by Tom Chipulo, and I came up with this question of how are your parents doing? And that's what this whole song is a response to. It doesn't work for every song. I think some songs feel like you're really alone, but some songs feel more like a dialogue, and so fill in the dialogue. You should really be making a lot of mental notes at this point, especially as you're reading through the text over and over again. Think about why the lyricist or the poet goes from the idea in one line to the idea in the next line. Be able to identify what's going on when you're not singing. This is really big because when you've stopped actually vocalizing, if you're still on stage, you still have to act. You still have to be in the moment. So it can be really helpful to even listen to the accompaniment if you have an accompaniment track and be able to identify what's happening. Is the character processing through something? Is there something huge happening? You know, be able to identify what that is and then write that probably both in your music and in your notebook. Be able to identify the dramatic reason why a composer or a songwriter holds out a note. You know, every song has little things about them that make them unique. You know, so be able to identify why that happens. Music is a part of the language of the song. Music is going to communicate a lot about the emotion behind the song. This is definitely not a steadfast rule, but in general, when music rises, the emotion rises, and when music settles, the emotion settles. So the composer or the songwriter is letting you know how they want you to sing it in the way that they write it. So observe that, and once we get to actually singing the song, you're going to have to deliver that. In general, understand why the creative team behind the song made the decisions that they did. And your job is to communicate those decisions. In general, you have to ask yourself, what does the song want from you? It's not what you want from the song. The song's trying to tell you how to be sung. And the song has a certain DNA. And if you stray too far from that, it doesn't work. So make sure that you're not thinking all about your style or something like that. Think about the song, and your individual style will actually result from that. As always, continue to do the vocal exercises that your teacher wants you to do. Warm-ups, anything technically related, do those things alongside of doing this deep dive into your text. Finally, if you have any other tips for how to do a deep dive into your text, please leave them below. And if you've enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, and share. And in the next video, we'll be talking about how to shape how you want to sing the song. I'll see you then.